Well, hello there, Aquarius. Welcome on into a general weekly reading for you for your upcoming week. As you can see, we're going to begin and grab an overall energy to center out your reading from the Good Tarot. So let's do that, and then we'll move on to some Gilded Tarot. But to begin for Aquarius, the High Priestess to begin your reading. So it's going to be evidently a very, very spiritual week for you, where some of the occurrences may remind you of the past. Maybe even certain sensations and other synchronicities is what I'm getting. But you will as well see a lot of 2s, a lot of 4s, and a lot of 6s within this week period. And I also feel like it's a time for you, Aquarius, to really hone in on what you're feeling accurately, because the High Priestess on one note says that, okay, this is kind of the energy you're embodying, a very mastered spiritual version of yourself. But the other side of the High Priestess gives us very intuitive energy. And so it's a week where they're saying, what are you feeling at certain points? Even if it takes a hot second to, stop and feel it out, to maybe feel it again, or even 3 times at most, you're feeling things accurately, right? And so this can teach you and remind you of a lot, and it can help you navigate moving forward. And pairing that with your spirituality and trusting, spirit selectively all the meanwhile, you're golden, right? But then this collective seems to be, one of the happier signs that I read for out of my 4 recently. But then this week period, if you look closely at our High Priestess here, you seem to be quite overly serious, right? In moments or during certain situations where you were normally enjoying yourself a bit more recently, or in general, you seem to be a bit stoic, all right? A bit maybe to be described as uptight for some of you. But it is a week where you feel sort of the need to shake that off at certain points. And again, you're feeling things accurately. So shake it off, my friend. You know yourself best. And it just feels like a week where you will thank yourself for doing so. You bring a lightness more so to what you accomplish or who you connect with. You simply feel happier, right? And you create and develop much more efficiently. But I do feel it's a week where you're experiencing your spirituality a lot differently, especially in comparison to rewinding back a few months. I don't know why I'm getting that, because I see a lot of you experiencing a spiritual shift in the recent past where things have felt more supportive, more, beneficial, just different. But now things shift even more so, to the point where you're keeping a lot on the down low with the 7 of Swords. You experience something spiritually, or you realize something maybe about somebody or a situation you're wrapped up with, and you're not telling anybody about it, right? And then there may be a focus at certain points due to your spirituality on one, if not a couple different people within a situation within your life that you should not be trusting, or maybe have been keeping this and that from you. And so it seems to be a week of different levels of secrecy, and I'm hearing exposing, but truth-telling all the meanwhile. But let's pull a couple more. There are moments where you have to think on your feet, as I'm being drawn to the sly fox on the 7 of Swords. And interesting, another 7 being the fire, the wands card on the right. So you're going to feel like a lot is coming towards you. Again, it's a very spiritual week. That's part of it. Your intuitive hits that are coming to be, that's part of it. There's a lot to process, a lot to trust and to feel out. Maybe even this and that you need to discard and overlook, move past throughout the week. But it's a time where you as well are getting the message from the 7 of Wands that you need to be thoroughly cleansing and protecting your energy. If you exit a conversation and that energy for some reason in the end leaves you feeling dizzy, off, maybe a bit anxious or nervous, you even find yourself struggling to process, think, or question things, you need to cleanse your energy, right? And then maybe, if you can, choose differently in regards to associating yourself with them moving forward. All right, again, it's not always that cut and dry, but There are certain symbols that you're going to see throughout the week pertaining to magic, pertaining to spirituality, and pertaining to you otherwise. But, okay, somebody in your midst, it could be more than one person, but I'm getting for a lot of you it's at work, okay, or a family member. They have loose lips is what I'm hearing. And so it's a week where you really need to be dry in regards to the updating department. Very interesting. So that overly serious, maybe staying within your own lane, secretive kind of energy about you would really benefit you more than ever because of what we just mentioned. You know, we don't need your spiritual occurrences that might be a bit touchy to share or talk about. We don't need that being spread to other people, right? It might be your personal business otherwise. We don't need people, or everybody for that matter, knowing what you are selectively sharing. But you may as well find it's a week where people share random stuff with you, all right? And so I feel spirits at work as well with that. And so it's a week where you start to feel like people want to kind of open up to you a bit more. They want to share random stuff with you. And you're going to feel like at certain points, my friends, the energy is all over the place. You know, there's noise in one direction or coming from that direction. There's, you know, distraction from another. There's a spiritual entity evidently in front of you in another direction. There's something that you can't help but think about that holds a lot of energy behind you. And so they're saying that at times you're going to feel kind of torn and sort of distracted in different directions. But it's up to you to really reground yourself and just focus in the moment. You know, don't allow things to pull you in each and every different direction just because that's how you normally are or could be, you know. And so it's really about channeling and controlling your energy throughout the week while again protecting it and just kind of staying not only in your own lane but in your own bubble. You know, I feel there's a bit of a difference. While, you know, staying in your own bubble kind of gives more of that protective energy and sort of a zoned in energy than just staying in your own lane. Anyways, let's pull a couple more cards. The Nine of Swords on the left-hand side, as well as the Six of Pentacles on the right. And so positively on the right, that's really giving us the message that you, again, deal with a lot coming towards you, but you'll reap rewards because of at least some of which, you know. You will start to experience a lot of spiritual occurrences, but then a good amount of them, maybe even shockingly for some, starts to benefit you. You deal with a lot of updates at work, maybe through your business or online otherwise, and that helps you gain more rewards, all right? If you post online, I'm getting as well, sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. I'm getting that a lot of comments, a lot of different types of input will come forth, and that will gain you more traction, more visibility, more eyes peeled upon whatever you post. But then the Nine of Swords on the left is honestly saying that you deal with certain stresses. And some of you, I feel the stress that you go through has to do with your sleep, you know? It's to say that when you're awake, your spirituality feels more beneficial than when you're asleep, all right? And I can totally relate. But I want to say that you're going to remember certain things that you went through when you slept in the past, and that'll help you enjoy your sleep or just benefit from it more so. Anyways, but let's pull a couple more. The Star card in the upright is saying that you are more than ever becoming the High Priestess, but the star that you're meant to be. I know I said that weird, but we don't have to be perfect to become the star that we're meant to, right? But the Eight of Wands in the upright, because I really see this being a week where it flies on by, all right? Things are starting to pick up in progression, in pace, and there's a lot of communication throughout the week, but again, I just see you being somebody who is more secretive than they normally are, less vocal in at least one scenario, one situation. While it could be like I'm doing here, there's no shortage of your voice getting out there throughout the week. But that's also talking about, again, people sharing stuff with you and a lot of rapid and fleeting communication from spirits. but it's going to be a very different week for you, all right? When it comes to, again, your spirituality, we didn't say it already, but the way you're feeling, the way you're looking at things, and the way you are proceeding on forward is going to be a very spiritual, very intuitive, very productive, and even very successful and life-changing week for you, all right? So that is what I have for you for this upcoming week, Aquarius. I hope it was truly helpful. I'm sending you so much love and light. Take care.